I'm Judy Saxon. Welcome to the Right Now Show.
And I'm Charlie Redner, the show where we put the emphasis on writing, writers, and the arts.
Charlie, have you ever written a script?
I have.
You have?
Yes. Matter of fact, I've written one and I'm about to write a second one, but I have to write the novel or the book first because I'm not comfortable just jumping onto the computer and using Final Draft and typing a screenplay.
Oh, okay.
How about you?
Yes, I have, but I get the idea first, nothing to do with the book, and then I write. In fact, that's my favorite form of writing, screenwriting. Speaking of writing a script, we have a guest today who does exactly that, Gila Zalin. She was a dancer, she's an actress, she's a film producer, she's a screenwriter, and she was a literary agent. She worked with public television and CBS. She's active in the Theater Guild and Old Prose. She's the founder of a script writing group. She was on the research writing team for Civilization and the Jews, and these are just a few of her accomplishments. Welcome.
Hi there. And you moved all the way from Orange, New Jersey to southern Orange County, California. How'd that happen?
Orange to orange. Orange. It's not mixing oranges and apples.
That's true. You stay for the oranges.
Right. No, we came for the warmth.
Uh-huh.
Because it's hard shoveling snow. It's cold there.
I lived in New Jersey my whole life. So
you did?
Yes.
Oh, where?
In Haddonfield, southern New Jersey, near Philadelphia.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
But you shoveled more snow. I think you were a little further north.
Yeah. Well, I lived in New York. I was brought up in New York. I was born and brought up in New York. Okay. So New Jersey was shoveling snow. New York, you didn't shovel snow.
Yes, right.
No, it snowed, but it wasn't quite as bad.
So how'd your career start, and how did you end up in Hollywood and here?
My career started as I was a professional dancer by the time I was 16.
Wow.
And writing came in with it because I belonged to 2 or 3 modern dance companies, and we performed at the 92nd Street Y.
Oh my!
Among many other places. And I used to write the narrations for the performances, and I also wrote articles for Dance Magazine. So
you were the publicist, a dancer, and
I never thought of myself as a writer, but somehow they chose me. Don't ask me why. And I ended up doing all the writing for them. Wow. And so I was a dancer and did some choreography and did the writing, and just sort of happened.
And then your screen, you got an audition, and next thing you know, you're in Hollywood, huh?
Well, no, not exactly. I was in California because I was in a concert in Chicago, and I had my tickets to go back to New York, and I switched them to use them to go to California because my brother was living here. I also had a cousin who was a very big television writer. Oh. His name was Howard Rodman. And so I came to visit my cousin and my brother, got a job as a dancer actually as a choreographer for what at that time was the Los Angeles Ballet.
Oh yes.
So I did choreographed for them, and then started getting acting jobs, and then ended up in dinner theater in San Francisco for a year. I mean, it just was crazy.
Wow.
Wow. Now, and you were a literary agent.
Yeah. When I was in California, my cousin taught me. I started, you know, how some actors have to, you know, wait on tables.
Sure.
Yes.
Well, instead, I did typing for writers.
Oh,
He got me lots of jobs, because I was a very good typist. So I did typing for screenwriters or TV writers, and learned the format and everything like that, and wrote a whole script for a TV series. My cousin told me who to send it to, and I sent it to a big producer, and they kept it for about 3 months and sent it back and said no thank you. And 2 years later it appeared on television, not in my name.
Oh dear.
As Lost in Space.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
And that was mine. And the thing I could do about it, because I didn't meet Jules yet and didn't
You
know
didn't
any
have
lawyers,
any contract? You didn't have
nothing.
copyright?
Nothing.
You didn't have
I had no protection.
the guild? You didn't register it with the guild?
No,
Nothing?
who knew? I didn't know anything.
Oh,
I
my
was sort of,
goodness.
dumb.
Oh.
So
Your cousin failed you.
my cousin felt very bad.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah, he did. But there was nothing either of us could do about it. So
that's
when I got back to New York, I got a job at what was called Ashley Famous Agency, which is now ICM.
big agency.
And I started, being a secretary, because I typed very well. And then little by little, I became an agent. So I was an
Literary agent or an agent for?
a literary agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
right.
they would submit books to you, or
Yes. Yeah.
and then you would
Find the publisher?
We would find them publishers, right? And I had a few well-known clients. Worked very closely with the part of the group that was selling plays, that had plays and screenplays.
Right.
Arthur Miller clients.
Oh, my.
We had very big.
Did you have a few screenplays that people wanted to have made into books? And you would send them? Yeah.
Yeah, that we had also, but mostly books were books and screenplays were screenplays in those days.
But the
theater.
ideas and the stories, if they worked.
People didn't send ideas to agents. They sent finished products.
Right.
Yeah, and we read them, and I have to admit that we got so much stuff that I'd read 10 pages sometimes and decide yes or no.
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure. Did you accept unsolicited
In those
scripts?
days, we did.
You did, yes.
They don't anymore.
No, I don't.
No.
Yeah, I
You know, Michael
guess
Blake
that.
told me he had a screenplay of Dances with Wolves, but Kevin Costner told him, write into a book, we'll get some traction with it, and we'll get some funds to make a movie. And that's how it happened, actually.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so many ways that it can happen.
That lightning can strike, yes.
But I have to tell you another thing, and that is you have to know someone. It's very hard to, either you have to know it or you got to do it yourself, which is why I started a production company, because I wrote a number of screenplays which people loved. We had one of them made almost 3 times. And the money fell through. And finally we decided that we were going to I wrote 3 short scripts which were done and won awards in all kinds of festivals. And I said, wait a minute, let's produce a full-length movie. Let's not wait for somebody else to do it. So we did.
That is
and that was Split Ends.
You
What
hired
an
a production company with
undertaking.
all the cameras, equipment, and everything. Did you direct it?
No, that I did not do. I produced it.
Okay.
I wrote it and I produced. I put the people together, but I didn't think I was
Ready for that.
I
yeah.
love that title, Split Ends, and it. I looked at the trailer on television
you?
on my computer the other evening, and well, tell us about it. It looks so interesting. It takes place in a beauty shop.
Yes.
Is it fiction or non?
Well, it's both. When my hairdresser found out that I had produced movies that had gotten awards, she said, I have a story. Everybody's got a story.
Right.
So I said, sure, She said, no, I do. I said, okay, Libby, write it down. So she wrote 2 pages or 3 pages of her story, and I said, oh, this is fun. I can make a screenplay out of it. So just for the fun of it, I wrote a screenplay. We sort of worked on it together. She gave me some ideas, and we wrote this screenplay. And before you knew it, we had a director, we had some actors that had, some name that were willing to be in it. And I said, wow. And it cost, I think the whole thing cost $100,000 to
Really?
make. Maybe a little more.
Wow.
Which we
Amazing.
raised in our community.
Oh, you did.
And believe it or not, though it never had theatrical here, it went to South America, it went to England and Scotland, It was shown in theaters in other countries, and then on the internet. So we had distribution.
How great. How great.
And some of the people made their money back.
Oh, good.
Really?
Good.
That's unusual.
Rare, yes, very yes.
That's why when somebody told me they would make a movie of my book, they offered me a producer title. Well, that's probably in lieu of money, and it's back-end money, which there never apparently is.
Oh, yes. Yeah, but exactly. That is what happens. Producers find real reasons for not giving writers they may give them in advance.
Yeah, well, sure.
But
you get paid for doing the screenplay, but beyond that, usually don't
it's
expect
very
anything.
Rare, very rare.
Wow. And then you did a short film starring Joe Mantegna and Frances Fisher, Pandora's Box.
This is one of the movies that almost got made as a full-length feature, and then someone suggested we do a trailer. So I went to the unions, and they said, well, if you do a trailer, you have to pay Joe his typical salary, and you have to do all this kind of stuff. And so we thought, well, instead of making a trailer, we'll just make a short film. In other words, it's a trailer that we didn't, that we didn't call a trailer. And Joe was very happy to do it. Frances Fisher was in it. And it really is just a number of scenes from the full-length feature, which I am still trying to sell.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's a good story, and I've been given awards for the screenplay itself.
Oh.
And so I think it should be made.
So what's your the most fun that you have? Is it acting? Is it writing? Is it producing? What do you like to do the best?
Producing is not fun. No, producing is a lot of work.
I was just going to say that.
A lot of work. And it isn't that I hated it. I enjoyed it, but I couldn't call it fun. The most fun has been, I guess the dancing when I was dancing. That was the most fun. Yeah. But acting has sometimes been, a joy also. But mostly acting was, you got to go to auditions. You got to go.
Oh, true.
There's a lot of. With the dancing, I almost never had to go to an audition because I was sort of known. So I was asked to be in things.
Productions, and you didn't have to earn
Isn't
your way
that
onto
nice?
the stage.
Yes,
huh?
yes.
Or this behind the
Even
camera.
when I was in California where they didn't know me, I did one audition, and from that one audition, I got an agent.
Oh,
and
wow.
then from one show, I just went into the next and into the next.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Did you ever meet Larry Strauss, one of the old pros here? He was a dancer and of renown, and he was in a lot of movies. He was.
Yeah, I didn't dance. The one movie I had a part in.
That you danced?
I landed, no, not as a dancer, but as an actress. I had a really great scene in Days of Wine and Roses.
Oh.
And I'm going to the opening and all that stuff, and my scene never shows up. It turned up on the, you always have, something has to land on the cutting room floor.
And it was you.
And they figured that the scene that I was in was not important enough to move the movie along.
Oh.
So my big chance.
But you got paid.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been a union member since I was 16 of Equity, of AFTRA. There were so many unions. Equity, AFTRA, AGMA, AGVA, SAG.
Well, SAG and AFTRA have combined, right?
A lot, so many of them.
Right.
Most of them don't exist anymore. But in those days, you did something at Carnegie Hall, which I did. You had to join one union, another. So I was a member of a lot of unions.
Yeah.
Wow.
You have to do that.
Now I'm not a member of any.
Okay, so I can hire you now and not have to pay you
You
scale?
don't have to pay me
Great.
Right.
Well, what was it like working at PBS and being on the writing research team for Civilization?
That was wonderful, I have to say. It was Civilization and the Jews.
Right.
And they put me in the category of Jews in America.
Okay.
And I started out working with someone else, and I ended up doing it just by myself. I was at the New York Public Library day and night, got very friendly with all of the librarians there that, you know, told me which books to read. I read tons of books. I got tons of stories. I then went into, they have this little room there with 3 or 4 people sitting there at desks, and I don't think I used a computer, just writing. And I wrote the outlines for about 4 of the
Shows?
of the stories.
30 minutes or
of the and all of the then they take the outlines, which was more than outlines. I mean, it was the stories, and then 3 or 4 different people work on each of the segments.
Oh.
And before they're actually produced. And one of them that was not accepted, everybody I thought was a great story, and everybody there said it was too, and they all said, why don't you just write that on your own? And so now I have another script lying around about a Jew who was actually the founder of the capital of Minnesota, I can't even remember the name of the state now. Alabama, thank you. The capital of Alabama, and who had married an American Indian.
Oh, really?
And was involved in his family was involved in all kinds of horrible things that were happening to the Indians, and finally they were all driven off into reservations to which he was not allowed to go. And they also forced his conversion.
What year would that have been? Like
This
in the
was in the
18-something?
1800s, yeah.
Wow.
He fought in the American Revolution. He fought in the Civil War. He fought in the War of 1812. A really fascinating character.
Sounds like a great show.
Oh,
Yes, so I wrote a screenplay based on that, and all because they didn't want it.
Right.
But they took my other 4 stories.
Sounds like you like the writing part of it as much as anything.
I actually do. I don't do it as much as I'd like to, because here I thought I'd sit down and write all the time, but I'm in the old prose, I'm in theater guilds.
Oh, and you just won a contest with the video club for scripts being...
the video club asked for short scripts. When we started the screenwriting group, one of the people that was, one of my co-starters said, let's all write 10 minutes plays, not screenplays, but plays. And to start with, and maybe the Theater Guild and Old Prose will put them on in their meetings. So the 3 of us wrote plays, and I turned mine into, because I like writing screenplays, into a screenplay, just for the fun of it. Then they had this contest.
Right.
Yes.
And so I sent in 3 short screenplays, and other people sent in screenplays as well, and found out that they chose mine. The funny thing is, I had already produced it for the Old Prose to do just for fun.
Just for the meeting?
I wasn't proud of it, because I did the directing, and I did my husband and I were the actors, and I did the something I had never done before, which was the editing, and I wasn't proud of the editing. I didn't think it was a great thing, but it was fun. Then they read, and they accepted it. So now I'm going to see how they do the editing.
I think it's very funny. I've read it. I'm on that group that might be producing it. I could be involved in some way, and it's a cameraman or something like that.
Oh, okay, that's fun.
Yeah, but I read it. I thought it was very funny.
Do you want to tell us just a little bit about what it's Not to spoil it, but
Well,
just to say.
it started out just as a punchline of a joke that many, many people know. And then I built up to the punchline by having a couple in Laguna Woods who, it's called Write It Down. And the idea is that we just don't remember things. We don't remember people's names. I mean, I'm sitting here now and I'm saying,
Right.
what was the name of that state?
I know.
You know, you just don't remember.
Yes,
the
yes.
words don't come to you.
No.
So basically, the script
Write it
is,
down.
That's the
you know,
premise.
this
Yes.
couple who are finding it hard to get things remembered and.
Right. Right. I think it's a very funny scene when he remembers everything going into the kitchen to get her, a treat. I thought that was hilarious. That he could repeat and remembered everything. He didn't write it down, but then I won't give the punchline. But it's very funny. I think it's very funny. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
I
right. Absolutely. Tell us about your founders group, the script writing you are the founder of the script writing group.
Right.
And that's here in Laguna Woods.
Yes, this is something, as I said, we had three of us started. Will Hagel, Mary Zolli, and I started it. And we've now built it up. And what it is mostly script writing for either theater plays or films. One of the women in our group, Barbara Herzog, has written novels that have been published, and she did what you said. She created plays and a screenplay based on her novel.
Right.
And she writes independently screenplays as well, and is very good. Another woman, Maddie, writes absolutely marvelous screenplays.
And you critique each other's work and sit down.
We critique each other's work.
Right.
We give each other a chance to make it better,
Yes,
to really
yes.
work on it. We're getting more people involved now. And now we are trying to also, we have discussions there about formatting, how to develop characters, anything that comes into our head that we have questions about. And now we're talking about how to sell these.
So important. So important.
If you want to make money.
Yes, right.
Well, if you can, even if it's just, the advance, and now you've got your thing on the screen, and if you don't get your, 15% or whatever that you might get from it, it's there, and you got something.
Well, also, aside from the money, just to see your work being done on stage or on video, how exciting is that?
Yes, it
So
really.
we going to attend the next meeting? I think we both have found it
Oh,
fascinating.
yes. I want to.
Oh, yes. We meet once a month, Wednesday evenings, the second Wednesday of the month. And we had 2 new people come into it this past Wednesday. And one of them actually came, she's rather new to Laguna Woods, because a script that she had written was picked up by a very well-known production company that wants to bring it to a television, either HBO and so she goes down to their pitch meetings.
Right.
Wow.
And she told us all
Fabulous.
about it, and now she's going to be part of our group.
How exciting. Oh, gosh. I'm already enthused, and
Yes,
I haven't even got to a meeting. And that's terrific that you did this in the community. I think there was obviously a need for it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, see, the spoken word is an offshoot of the Writers Club, and we were like you, just 3 or 4 of us from the Writers Club used to meet aside, and we started writing and reading our poetry. Now, 10 years later, the spoken word's been a club around here for,
Wonderful
all that
group.
time.
Wonderful group.
Oh,
Oh, we have a good
great.
time. We don't critique the work, but we write it and read it, and that
Yeah.
people just enjoy doing that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
And to read your work, I love getting up there, and that's exciting too. And I think being in a group or going to spoken word or going to the Writers Club, it just gets you motivated to keep writing.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
It does. Someone else in our group the other night, we said, okay, what's your idea? What's happening there? And she came out with an idea, and she hadn't been motivated until we all sat and listened and talked about it, and all of a sudden her eyes lit up, and I know she's going to go home and write a script on it.
She will. She will. Yeah.
That's what you keep saying. It's working with someone or having a
Yes.
deadline or
Yeah.
having an
Yes.
editor work
Yes.
with you.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh yes. So important to be with other people and stuff like this. I know a lot of writers talk about how they're alone all the time, and when you're doing the actual writing, you are.
Right.
But you don't want to be alone all the. You
No.
want people reading. You want people talking. It really motivates.
You need that too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Seven for a minute? You were in that production?
Yes.
Tell us a little about the storyline and what you did.
C.C. Sloan has a readers
Love C.C.
group.
She's wonderful.
And there's one thing that she worked on last year was called Seven. And it was about 7 women from 7 different countries around the world. Most of them that oppressed women openly, you know, Afghanistan and,
Afghanistan, Pakistan, Guatemala.
You know, I think we have to wrap this up.
No.
Yeah. I think
We
we're
just got
almost. I
started.
think we're almost out of time. I'm sorry, but I think yes. I think we are just about ready to.
Oh my gosh, you're going to have to come
I'm
back and
sorry
finish
for
the stories.
interrupting. It's just going so fast. Don't forget the Writers Club. The second Friday of the month, 3 o'clock in the afternoon at the Performing Arts Center.
And we don't have time for...
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't.
But
kind of
can I come down to it?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. We're all right. I have a quote that in honor of our guest by Alfred Hitchcock. To make a great film, you need 3 things: the script, and the script.
I love that. Well, here's what Will Rogers said, a little sarcastic here. He says, in Hollywood, the woods are full of people who learn to write, but evidently can't read. If they could read their stuff, they'd stop writing.
Oh!
And I have a little
Go ahead.
story. So this guy decided to walk down Hollywood Boulevard and ask 100 people how their scripts were going, and 99 of them told him.
That's a
love
good
it.
one.
I love
It's
it.
also probably true. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And goodbye for us all. I'm Charlie Redner.
And I'm Judy Saxon. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank
That was
you.
enjoyable. Oh, you're a total delight. Thank you.